when you leave the country and you're just like, how long is a kilometer? Woo, child. It's so hot in here. Hello and welcome. My name is Kendra and ich bin deine Lieblingsausländlerin, coming back to you with another video. So today we are going to be talking about some of the things that Europeans don't understand about Americans. So I've seen a few articles on this topic before, but I recently found one that's from, I think it's from May. Yeah, I think it's from last month. I always find this topic really interesting because some of these things are things that I still think of as normal, and some of these things are things that now that I don't experience them as much since I'm living in Germany, they are kind of strange to me. Like, why do we do that? But hopefully today I can shed some light on some of these things and why they may seem weird to people who don't really experience them, or to people who haven't been to the US, people who don't actually know any Americans. I'm gonna try to clear some of these things up. And I know you guys have a lot of questions because I always get these comments like,
Kendra, why do you live in such a sexist, racist, classist country?
And I'm like, as a woman, as a black woman that went into tens of thousands of dollars into debt pursuing a higher education so that she could escape the cycle of poverty, I don't know. I'm not the person to answer that question, but I am gonna try to tackle some of these questions for you guys today. So before we get started, make sure you click that like button and make sure you click subscribe for more great content. So this is from Insider, and it's called 23 Things That Are Considered Normal in the US but that the rest of the world finds weird. So not just Europeans, people throughout the entire world. So I'm gonna skip some of these because they're just boring. And I'm gonna go to the more interesting / controversial ones. Ooh, this is a controversial one. Using America or Americans to describe ourselves, our customs, and our country. Yeah, this is really weird considering that there's a North America, a Central America, and a South America. And don't forget like the Caribbean. But yeah, we refer to the US as America. In the last couple years or so, I've stopped using the word America to describe the US. I just say the US because I just find it to be not inclusive of all parts of the Americas, and it just doesn't make any sense. But yeah, a lot of people still say America to refer to the US. A lot of foreigners still say America to refer to the US. I would hope that that's something that people are starting to deviate from, because I don't know, I hope people are realizing that you can say America and literally mean 35 different countries. I mean, it's mostly because it's in the name, and it's also politics and stuff like that, because we're not like United Statesians, only in Spanish. I wish that there was some kind of equivalent for that in English, but yeah, this is weird. Writing the date beginning with the month. Because it makes sense. It just makes sense. If you speak English, you say, I'm gonna use my birthday as an example, May 27th. Usually you say that instead of the 27th of May. It just sounds so poetic to say the date first. So I don't know, it just kind of goes along with English. I know that they don't do that in other English speaking countries, but as an American, like when I go back home, sometimes I write the date the European way. Like, no, this is the wrong way, but it's the right way in the Europe, but it's the wrong way in the US. Yeah, I don't know. It just makes more sense to me to put the month first, because that is usually how you would say it. You would say the month first. We're just gonna have to agree to disagree on that one. Ooh, we got some controversy. Using the imperial system of measurement instead of the metric system. Yeah. It's pretty ridiculous when you leave the country and you're just like, how long is a kilometer? I mean, the thing is, if you're educated in the US, you have to learn both, because in science, only the metric system is used, blah, 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 nerdy stuff. So eventually you do know both, but for the most part, we only use the imperial system. Like when driving, we use miles, measuring, we use inches. I think I'm lucky because I ran track when I was in high school. I have more of an understanding of the metric system than I would if I hadn't been a runner. But yeah, it's really annoying when you leave and then like, don't even get me started on the Celsius. I still can't really fluidly convert from Celsius to Fahrenheit. I just know that like, okay, 27 is hot. I can wear my Birkenstocks. 0 is 32. I probably have to switch to my Uggs now. You know what I mean. It's pretty annoying. And that's my metric system rant. Taking leftover food home from a restaurant. So the thing is, we get these gigantic portions when we go out to restaurants, and Personally, I'm not gonna leave the food that I paid for behind in the restaurant, so I always get a doggy bag. I don't know why they give you so much food, knowing that you're not gonna finish it. I never finish my food in restaurants, just because the portions are so gigantic. And the next one is eating giant portions. That is always a reverse culture shock for me when I come back to the US. I'm just like, why do you give me so much food? I mean, I'm happy I have leftovers for tomorrow, but why? Like when I went to Italy, the best pasta I've ever had in my life, obviously, is Italy. But the portions were perfect. Every time I got a portion, I would just look at it like, why is it so small? But then I would be perfectly full. Versus the huge portions that we get in the US, I'm just like, I feel pressure to finish this, but I know I can't. Yeah, we just like food. We like our big portions. We're not the most obese country, contrary to popular belief. Paying sales taxes on pretty much everything we buy. I talked about this in my things you find in the US and not in Germany video. The tax is just not included in the price because it varies from state to state. And in New York, you pay a transportation tax so that the MTA can pretty much run on its own schedule and make you late to everything. And some states don't even have a sales tax. So that is part of the reason why you'll pay taxes on every single thing and be so confused when you get to the register. And the price on the tag is not the price that you have to pay. So sorry. Tipping waiters, waitresses, and other service professionals. So I recently read an article that said that this custom originates from slavery. People who had just recently been emancipated weren't allowed to make a regular wage, like minimum wage. So wage rates were a lot lower, and that very often resulted in them having to survive off of tips. Pretty much, if you ever want to know the source of anything in the US, it's probably like racism, imperialism, etc. I know a lot of people don't like this because in other parts of the world, you don't tip as much as you would in the US. But yeah, it's just something that you have to do because a lot of the times waiters and waitresses really do need their tips to survive. So my logic is like, if you can't afford to tip well, don't go out to eat because that is a lot of people's wages. It sucks, but I think you should always support the people who work in service industries. Going into debt to go to college. What did I just say? Didn't I just mention this? We often go into debt to go to college in the US because college is so expensive. College is something that is more of a luxury in the US, and it's something that can be used as a tool to escape the cycle of poverty, but because it's so expensive and you have to go into debt, you automatically end up back in that cycle of poverty if you can't pay that debt off and if you can't find a job where you can actually put your degree to work. And yes, everybody finds this strange. Americans, well, those of us who are middle class and lower class, find it strange too. And it's been a point of debate for years now. Tackling student debt was one of Biden's main tactics to get more votes from liberals, more highly educated people, people in debt, people of color, etc., etc. One of those things that makes me more grateful that I have the opportunity to study in Germany. It's not an opportunity that everybody has, but yeah, it's despicable how much we have to pay to go to college. And the last one, working constantly with relatively little vacation time. Yes. This is just strange. I'm lucky that when I was working full-time in the US, I was a teacher. So we had winter break, we had summer vacation, we had spring break, and, you know, various other little holidays and days off in between. But yeah, for the most part, a lot of people don't have as many vacation days as a teacher would. So the good thing is that a lot of companies are now starting to recognize the importance of mental health and they offer more mental health days. But a lot of people have just kind of entered this rat race where they feel like they have to constantly be working. Sometimes even like, especially when I was working as a teacher, there's some guilt around taking a personal day because your kids need you, your team needs you, and it's one of those things about American culture that I really, really dislike. I hope that I cleared up some of these misconceptions that people from other parts of the world don't understand about the US. Hopefully, for example, if you're taking a trip there one day, you're not too confused about why you're expected to pay a 20% tip. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed, and until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you in my next video. Auf Wiedersehen.